I love you so much, bro. Can I pray for you? Yeah, come here. Father, I ask you in the name of Jesus.
Pai, eu te peço em nome de Jesus.
Bless my friend. Bless him.
Abençoe ele.
Let him know how much you love him, God.
Deixe ele que quanto o Senhor ama ele.
I thank you in Jesus' name.
Eu te agradeço em nome de Jesus.
Show him who he is, God.
Mostra para ele quem ele é.
In Jesus' name.
Em nome de Jesus.
Let him be that animator.
Deixe ele ser aquela pessoa de desenho.
Let him make those cartoons.
Deixe ele fazer, criar esses cartoons, esses desenhos.
In Jesus' name.
Most people have heard about the war happening in Israel and Palestine, but not many know how this war in the Middle East could lead to a greater World War III between some of the world's largest nations. In fact, other nations and military groups have already been getting involved. Hezbollah is a militant group located in Lebanon and Syria who's gotten involved by firing rockets into the northern side of Israel. Hezbollah has a strong relationship with Lebanon, Syria, and Iran, and they aren't just targeting Israel. On October 19th, Hezbollah first sent airstrikes towards U.S. military bases in Iraq and Syria, which were quickly shot down by U.S. defense systems. The U.S. has long been allies with Israel and will continue to support them diplomatically, financially, and militarily, but this alliance is getting the U.S. into some hot water with the other Arab nearby countries. The next day, on October 20th, the Houthis in Yemen fired 3 missiles north in the direction of Israel. Luckily, a United States naval ship was positioned in the Red Sea and shot the missile down as it was coming towards the ship's direction. The US is sending more naval ships to patrol in the Red Sea and Persian Gulf in hopes of deterring other Arab nearby countries from joining the war with Hamas to take down Israel. But what do these recent events mean for the more powerful countries like Russia and China? Vladimir Putin has said that Israel's airstrikes into Gaza are unacceptable given 2 million people live in such close proximity to each other, and refuses to label Hamas as a terrorist group, unlike many other Western states. China, on the other hand, has tried taking the upper hand by describing itself as a friend of both Palestine and Israel, where leader Xi Jinping called for an immediate ceasefire, which was quickly vetoed by the United States. Who knows how truthful this Chinese diplomatic friends of both nations approach is, as China receives all its sanctioned oil from Iran, and well, Iran has long been supporters of Hamas and Palestine. With all eyes on the Middle East, this makes it easier for countries like Russia to take down Ukraine with less outside involvement, and easier for even China to potentially make a move on Taiwan in the South China Sea.
How have the American people been okay with it taking this long? Like, I can see Democrats being like, well, you guys just bitch a lot, or you guys complain a lot, Republicans, because as long as Democrats win, they don't want to find, like, it's working.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So there's not a problem for Democrats, right?
Not at all.
Okay, then I can see Republicans being like, well, you know, it's not the guy I wanted anyway, so I don't give a shit, you know. So there's some that are rhinos and there's some that are establishment. Yeah, so it's okay. Yeah, he lost in your face, you know, and great. Then there's the other community that's going to be like the independents saying, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I'm comfortable with this. I don't trust this. I want to know whoever won to win. So my vote matters. So people don't lose credibility and, you know, well, my vote doesn't matter. Why should I vote anyway? They're going to manipulate it anyway. So I want to know, the people that actually want to know for the vote to count, they're not okay with it taking 27, 28 days. How did they get to that long of a time?
I believe it really has been because their policies are so bad. This is an attempt to make sure we have people in that are controllable. I mean, 27 days of voting, early voting, and you look at what happened when any state goes full mail-in ballots. Mail-in ballots really are not secure ballots. You know, would you put $500 in an envelope and put it in the mail right now?
Post office? No way.
No.
Absolutely not.
But you're putting your vote.
Yingst is live on the ground in southern Israel with the very latest. Trey, good morning to you. Good afternoon there. Day 25. What's the latest?
Yeah, hey guys, good morning. Some significant breaking news right now. The Israeli military says that the Arrow missile defense system has intercepted a surface-to-surface missile that was likely fired from Yemen. This is a significant development and the first time since this war began that the Arrow defense system was used. Now, they say this was a successful interception, likely a ballistic missile fired by Houthi rebels in Yemen, a group backed by the Iranian regime. The Israelis also saying that 2 cruise missiles were fired at Israel and that fighter jets were scrambled to shoot them down. This may be an update to what we reported last hour, what initially was thought to be drones that were launched and traveled over the Red Sea may have been cruise missiles along with 1 ballistic missile.
1970, the average home was $15,000. It is now $436,000. It has gone up 29 times. Rent was $108, is now $2,000. That's gone up 20 times. College was $500. It's now $11,000. That's gone up 20 times. Gas was 36 cents. It's now $3.80. That has gone up 10 to 12 times. But what about the income? In 1970, the average person was making $9,000. Today, they're making $56,000. That has only gone up 6 times compared to everything else. But this is where it gets sad. In 1970, the average household had 3.5 children. Today, it's only 1.9. And the crazy part is that back in 1970, the average household, 47% were dual income. It has now jumped to 65% is dual income. So millennials and Gen Zers under the household are putting in more hours than the boomers did. We're both working 40 hours a week. But you got way more bang for your buck and more children. You got to expand your family, own a house. Things are so drastically different. The birth rate is plummeting because people can't afford it. So we need to make a change so that we can turn this around.
Welcome to the fucking news. I'm your host, Kellerman, and here's some of the shit that's happened recently that I haven't reported. Joseph Emerson is being charged with 83 counts of attempted murder after trying to turn off a plane's engines mid-flight. Later, it was revealed that he was tripping on fucking mushrooms. A severe drought in the Amazon has revealed a bunch of ancient rock carvings, with the waters of the Rio Negro dropping below 13 meters for the first time in recorded history. It's revealed markings the scientists estimate are between 1,000 and 2,000 years old. And in Scotland, archaeologists have discovered a 5,000-year-old tomb containing 14 skeletons. I don't know the significance of this find, but it seems like they're excited about it. Also last week, hundreds of gold mine workers in South Africa stayed underground for 3 days trying to get their employer to recognize their unregistered union. About 100 of them were kept there against their will by their fellow employees. And I can't find any information about whether or not they got what they wanted, so I'm guessing they didn't. And after a tumultuous 3 weeks, Louisiana Republican Mike Johnson has been voted in to be our new House Speaker. Today he made a speech, part of which was about Israel, and I'm going to play that for you, but I just want to be clear. I don't care if you are a Republican or Democrat. I do not care how you feel about what's going on in Israel and Palestine, Gaza, Hamas, the whole deal. Nothing I'm talking about, nothing I'm showing you is trying to convince you to think or feel a certain way. I'm playing this clip because I have so many people in my comments blaming Joe Biden for supporting Israel. So I just want us all to be on the same page. It would not matter who the president of the United States is right now. Both parties are supporting Israel. Follow me if you give a shit.
Regarding Israel. Today, people are already facing a new level of insanity when they force you to eat insects, poison you with chemicals, push cannibalism, legalize pedophilia, introduce sexual education for young children. That is, they have already taken a swing at the children, at the source. And you know what I want to tell you about this? There was no such thing as is happening now, even in the days of Sodom and Gomorrah. It's crazy, and yet you live in it. You don't even see what is already happening outside your window. Tornadoes demolish cities, volcanoes erupt every day, pillars of light appear along the power lines. And people, as if spellbound, stand and shoot it all on their phones, admiring the beauty of the forces of nature. Yes, this is a verdict for you. Everything is collapsing, the economy is collapsing, the world is collapsing, the earth is falling apart under your feet, and you, as hypnotized, do not want to see this point blank. So who prevents humanity from becoming normal? Keepers. But there has always been a force that restrained the keepers and opposed them. This is the light force, thanks to which you are here now and hear me. If it wasn't for this power, there would have been a new hell long ago, and the world would have disappeared. But this force has always ruined the plans of the keepers.
reason why I've never seen any TikToks of people diving into the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation's like charity forms, I'm digging into them. It's crazy. Check out what I found out so far. I don't remember how I got here, but I was just like, I wonder where Bill Gates is putting his money. And I went to the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation website. Their annual reports are a whole different story, but we're starting with their grants data. Download all that data. It looks like this. First thing I did was I organized it by the highest amount to the lowest amount in descending order. So the biggest individual grant the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation has ever given was $1.6 billion, followed by $1.5 billion. And hold up, they were both to the same person? The Gavi Alliance, huh? Well, hold up, they've given to the Gavi Alliance multiple times for a total of $5.8 billion. And that's just the ones on the screen here. There's more down below. So what do you think the Gavi Alliance does? Well, no surprise there. Then you can also find their contributions to the World Health Organization. That totals up to more than $1 billion just in those 3 entries. The smallest grant they've ever given was to Mount Rainier North Cascades Olympic. What the? $50? Man, I've given more money to Mount Rainier than you, Bill. Come on. That's like the cost of a parking pass. What are you doing? Anyways, if you're wondering, the total they've given in all this data is $82.6 billion. And notice that's across all years. I think that's the total lifetime of the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. But then I did something else where I organized it alphabetically so you could see where, they've given a lot of money all to the same organizations lots of times. Like, what is Access Health International? All right, kind of vague. It's a think tank, huh? That's still pretty vague. Okay. Like, when are you going to tell me what you guys actually do? This website is full of jargon that says 0. To be clear, they've received almost $41 million from the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. And their website is just full of jargon that says absolutely nothing about how that money might be spent. But a few things worth noting. They're based in India, so they don't have to file Form 990s with the IRS. We don't have any idea how they're spending that money. But I did notice that John Michael Lind is a founding member of Access Health and a trustee of the Lind Family Trust and Lind Family Foundation. With more than 39 private equity and venture investments to his credit, primarily in the U.S., he has more than 20 years on the ground asset management and investment banking experience. So I'm not saying I know what's going on here. I'm just saying that this Access Health International feels a little opaque. Like, where's all that money going? What's it doing? Then we just keep going down the A's and I found Achieve Inc. and I couldn't help but get curious. Achieve Inc. has received $46 million, and we're talking education here, so I had to call up my mama, because she knows a lot about education. Both my parents worked in education for their whole lives. And she kind of confirmed what I was seeing, is these guys are heavily involved in developing nationalized standards, like the standardized tests that we all took in high school and such. They're not involved in funding teacher education or higher quality teachers. They're just involved in funding standards and standardized testing, which is good, because that way everyone can go to college. When you try to go to their website and find their reports, because they are a nonprofit, strangely, they're not there. And when you try to look at their board of directors, there's literally no information about their board of directors. They're not listed on their website. I had to go and hunt down their 990s on ProPublica. That's sketchy. And I am no expert at this stuff, but I can tell that they're taking in a total of what, like $40 million worth of Yeah, $40 million in, but there is no information on this Form 990 about where that money goes. I mean, there's whole sheets left blank, but there's literally nothing to indicate where $40 million is disappearing to. I mean, maybe that's how it's supposed to work, I'm not sure. Achievement First, there's so many Achieves all about education. Achievement First is a charter school program over on the East Coast. And charter schools have a lot of complex problems that are not immediately apparent, that you might think they're great. Like, oh, sick. They admit students by blind lottery and there are never admission fees or tests. So it's totally fair. But who do they kick out? And I couldn't help but notice that if they admit students on blind lottery, why are they so set on literally every single face on their website? I mean, like, every face. Being brown and black and such, like you're dang straight, everyone deserves an education, but isn't it kind of weird that they're like, What you guys trying to tell us? What you trying to hide? You couldn't be trying to represent charter schools as being more inclusive than they are, could you? Anyways, last one, and then I'm going to get back to doing my digging. Achieving the Dream, Inc. They've received $22 million. And they're transforming colleges and transforming communities. I mean, it sure is good that this guy is so concerned with funding education, but I seem to remember that he was on a certain list of, like, people that flew on a certain plane a lot. And if you had read Whitney Webb, you actually would know that the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation was actually originally, like, the money was managed and the charity was set up in coordination with that one Jeffy boy that this guy totally didn't know. Am I wrong about that? Anyways, I just wanted to share. I'm going to go dig through more of Bill Gates' dirty laundry. And I know I'm supposed to be talking about, like, farming and other stuff right now, but I got distracted, okay? We'll get back to the scheduled programming in a minute.
How long you been using fentanyl?
6+ years.
So is this your buddy right here?
Yeah, it's my friend, yeah.
So he's nodding out. Is he okay?
He's fine with me, I think.
And we saw a line waiting to go to the bank. Are they waiting for social welfare checks to buy more drugs or what?
Probably waiting to pay off their drug debt is what they're probably doing.
So people are in debt to the dealers out here?
Most of them are, yeah.
For instance, if you have debt...
Everyone's stealing, everyone's selling their body.
So people sell their bodies out here to afford the drugs?
Yeah, he was stealing all the time.
Here, like this security guy, would he do anything if you guys...
At all.
Can they do anything?
No.
No? And is that meth right there in your hand?
It's fentanyl.
Fentanyl?
And a little bit of meth.
Okay. How much do you use in a day?
7 grams.
Is that a lot?
7 grams a day?
Seven's a
Holy
lot.
smokes, bro.
Seven's a lot.
How do you afford your drug addiction out here?
Boosting.
Boosting?
Yeah.
What is boosting?
Stealing.
Okay, is that pretty common out here?
Yeah. No, I boost tools, clothes, phones.
So I noticed that you have skin lesions where the side effects of xylazine, aka Trank, on your right arm here.
You don't think that's the xylazine taking it?
$8,000 watch from
Oh, you don't think it's dangerous carrying that out here? Okay, well, you better be careful with that on you, man. And then I found this.
Damn the whistleblower, Big Mad. Let's talk about this one.
ATF and state police to try to find these explosives. Gregory General Contracting Company reported the thefts of 640 pounds of dynamite and 400 blasting caps. The ATF says they were stolen from a truck parked at a pipeline worksite off River Road. It says workers left the explosive locked in a truck Friday, but then noticed the trailer door was open and those locks were missing on Monday. If you have any information that could help investigators and could earn you that $10,000 reward, call 1-888-ATF-BOMB. That number also 1-888-283-2662. Stealing or even possessing stolen explosives is a federal crime that could come with up to 10 years in prison. In Lancaster County, Caitlin Smith, WGAL News 8.
There's a cash reward this morning up for grabs after someone stole 400 guns from a Memphis UPS facility. They used a U-Haul van to do it Sunday. The ATF released pictures of the suspects. Here they are right here, but they're still working to figure out exactly what type of guns are gone. Investigators say the guns were on their way to different companies and cities. The ATF is offering a $5,000 reward for information.
About 400 bulletproof vests, which were donated to be sent to Ukraine, have been stolen in Manhattan. The vests were stored inside the Ukrainian Congress Committee of America building on 2nd Avenue in the East Village. The theft happened sometime overnight. Workers found the door forced open when they arrived this morning. They called police. The NYPD is now looking for those responsible.
Most Americans sound like morons right now because most Americans don't know history, not even their own history. Hey guys, do you know about Liberia? If you're an American, I'm assuming you don't. You should know about Liberia. It's your history. So for those of you who are new, Liberia is a country on the west coast of Africa that was founded in a pretty fucked up way because of America. This is from the Wikipedia. I'm going to read this because this shit's hilarious. Liberia began in the early 19th century as a project of the American Colonial Society, which believed black people would face better chances for freedom and prosperity in Africa than in the United States. Between 1822 and the outbreak of the American Civil War in 1861, more than 15,000 free and freeborn African Americans, along with 3,198 Afro-Caribbeans, relocated to Liberia. Gradually developing an American Liberian identity, the settlers carried their culture and tradition with them. Liberia declared independence, whatever. Okay, so that's from the Wikipedia. So that's fucking insane. This is what Liberia actually is. So right around the time of the Civil War, in the north, you had a lot of very liberal, very liberal, wealthy white men who were anti-slavery. They're very anti-slavery. They wanted to stop slavery. Hey, why do they want to stop slavery? They want to stop slavery because they hate black people so much. They don't want any of them on the North American continent. They hate black people so much, they don't want any of them on the North American continent. Better chances for freedom and prosperity. No, they just didn't want them here. So what did they do? They bought up as many slaves as they could and freed them, and then they put them on boats. And then they sent those boats to just the west coast of Africa, to Liberia, to modern-day Liberia. It wasn't called Liberia then, because it wasn't a fucking place like that. It has like 20 different ethnic groups, and they just took all the slaves they could get, who were like 3rd, 4th, 5th generation slaves. These people were not from Africa. Their ancestors were. They didn't speak any of the local languages. They didn't have any connection to the fucking culture. They'd been enslaved for generations. And then they just dropped them off on the coast of Africa. And they just gave them a bunch of guns. They just gave them a bunch of guns, and they're like, hey, you live here now. And these people who have no education, they've been enslaved literally since birth, have just been given a bunch of guns. So what do? They gradually develop an Americano-Liberian identity, and the settlers carried their culture and tradition with them. By bringing their cultures and traditions, they just mean they enslaved the locals with the guns they had. That's what they meant by bringing their cultures and traditions. You had a bunch of rich white guys free a bunch of slaves in the U.S. because they hated black people so much they couldn't stand them on the North American continent, put them on a bunch of boats, send them to Africa, give them a bunch of guns, and have them enslave the local population, resulting in civil war nonstop for like a century and a half, I think. I think the civil wars finally stopped in like 2005. Correct me if I'm wrong, Liberians. And now there's only like 5% of the original settlers, like descendants, left because they just kept doing civil war until there was nothing left to fight about, I guess. America, fuck yeah.
Terrifying moment caught on camera.
Oh dear God.
Overdose. Okay.
That is what a methamphetamine with sleep exhaustion overdose looks like.
Meth overdose in real time right now. Ambulance is probably coming for him. You can look at Dana doing this thing. So
This is complete chaos.
yeah, and this is an active overdose in real time right there.
We are completely surrounded by active users.
As we walked off the block and into an alleyway, I noticed both ends were guarded by a drug dealer.
You go through here or no? Yeah. Yeah?
Yeah, they should worry about me now. Need anything though?
No, we're good.
To my surprise, we had just been offered drugs on camera.
Okay, we definitely just walked through some active drug deals.
As we walked away, we started getting dirty looks from those two dealers, but it was clear we could buy drugs on any corner of any block out here in East Hastings.
Yeah, we're definitely being followed right now. This guy's wrapped in a trash can right here. I mean, this scene is...
I mean, you can't, how do you breathe? How do we even know he's alive?
Yeah, do you want to check in on him? He might need some Narcan or something, I mean...
I was worried about you. You're in a trash bag. Okay, just check on you, brother. You doing okay? All right, you take care, brother.
So this guy's, his back's messed up, as you can see, from nodding out. This is definitely worse than Kensington by far. Definitely see a few cops rolling around here, but there are ambulances pulling out all day long. Oh, this guy's picking up leaves.
Hey, sir. I notice your pockets are full of leaves. What are you doing that for?
It's a wild one-liner.
It's money? Okay. So he sees it leaves us money.
It's probably harder to get Red Bull than it is fentanyl out here. It is no joke. The repeated use of tranq, which causes the user to nod out for long periods of time, sometimes led to spine deformities and back problems like what you're seeing here. People were nodding out everywhere.
Did you use fentanyl?
And the more we talked to people out here, the dirtier the looks we got. Something felt off.
There's 3 men to your left pointing at us and talking to them, and they're slowly walking over, so just be aware of that. Something's up.
All right, let's go.
I legitimately think they tried to take his camera.
Oh, you
because
we walked by and he said, "I'll kill you." What? He's got no back look. I'm trying to walk down.
yeah, everyone is eyeballing us.
We're gonna get mugged down here.
Yeah, they're looking at us right now.
Take a quick intermission, back up the footage.
We got to get off of Hastings.
What I've noticed is the drug dealers use scooters to get around here.
I noticed that they always in scooters and they always have a mask on, usually a black mask. And they know the moment we're there that we do not fit in, that we are outsiders, and they are watching us. Probably that guy right here.
Yeah.
Because they always have the black.
Hey, here's what you do in the event of a nuclear explosion. Why are they putting this out now? Because of where we are as a country. The problem is, as it shows in this video, their advice to the people of New York City is get inside, and stay tuned. That's it.
Stay tuned to what?
The radio, I guess.
I mean, what is even going to be available?
That's my point.
Yeah,
that is
there'll be no
exactly
power.
my point. There will be no power. There will be no infrastructure. There will be no, you see what's happening in Florida right now with the recovery efforts after this hurricane just swept through and demolished it. You think about that, multiply that by 50,000 times. The devastation is what we would see, but we wouldn't have FEMA. We wouldn't have these first responders who are able to actually go out and help people. And the worst thing I said when I watched that PSA, get inside, stay tuned. At the end, I'm assuming as an actor they hired to do this, she looks in the camera and she's like, "You got this, New York." Like, what in the world? These people are creating this false sense of security for the American people, saying like, "Oh yeah, take shelter." But there is no shelter.
We should watch that because it's so crazy.
It is insane.
Let's watch that.
So there's been a nuclear attack. Don't ask me how or why, just know that the big one has hit, okay? So what do? There are 3 important steps that I want you to remember. Step 1, get inside fast. You, your friends, your family, get inside. And no, staying in the car is not an option. You need to get into a building and move away from the windows. Step 2, stay inside. Shut all doors and windows. Have a basement? Head there. If you don't have one, get as far into the middle of the building as possible. If you were outside after the blast, get clean immediately. Remove and bag all outer clothing to keep radioactive dust or ash away from your body. Step 3, stay tuned. Follow media for more information. Don't forget to sign up for Notify NYC for official alerts and updates. And don't go outside until officials say it's safe. All right, you've got this.
Like, who's the officials? People that they elected? Who's going to tell you it's okay to go outside during a nuclear blast in the United States, something that's never happened ever, and that we're completely woefully unprepared for?
Exactly.
You got this. You got this.
I warned y'all of terrorist attacks on the United States, and a lot of people laughed it off and said, "Oh, bring it on, it stands no chance." Well, we got a big warning from the FBI. We might be here. Watch this.
The most pressing national security threats that what we face and what we're doing to tackle them are always important, but it seems especially well-timed this year with the dangerous implications the very fluid situation in the Middle East has for our homeland security. The reality is that the terrorism threat has been elevated throughout 2023, but the ongoing war in the Middle East has raised the threat of an attack against Americans in the United States to a whole nother level. Since the horrific terrorist attacks committed by Hamas against innocent people in Israel a few weeks ago, we've been working around the clock to support our partners there and to protect Americans here at home. We assess that the actions of Hamas and its allies will serve as an inspiration the likes of which we haven't seen since ISIS launched its so-called caliphate several years ago. In just the past few weeks, multiple foreign terrorist organizations have called for attacks against Americans and the West. Al-Qaeda issued its most specific call to attack the United States in the last 5 years. ISIS urged its followers to target Jewish communities in the United States and Europe. Hezbollah has publicly expressed its support for Hamas and threatened to attack U.S. interests in the Middle East. And we've seen an increase in attacks on U.S. military bases overseas carried out by militia groups backed by Iran. Here in the United States, our most immediate concern is that violent extremists, individuals or small groups, will draw inspiration from the events in the Middle East to carry out attacks against Americans going about their daily lives. That includes not just homegrown violent extremists inspired by a foreign terrorist organization, but also domestic violent extremists targeting Jewish or Muslim communities. We've already seen that with the individual we arrested last week in Houston who'd been studying how to build bombs and posted online about his support for killing Jews. And with the tragic killing of a 6-year-old Muslim boy in Illinois in what we're investigating as a federal hate crime. But as I said a few moments ago, on top of the homegrown violent extremists and domestic violent extremist threat, we also cannot and do not discount the possibility that Hamas or another foreign terrorist organization may exploit the current conflict to conduct attacks here on our own soil. We have kept our sights on Hamas and have multiple ongoing investigations into individuals affiliated with that foreign terrorist organization. And while historically our Hamas cases have identified individuals located here who are facilitating and financing Hamas,
proof we are all being played.
I get up at 4:45 in the morning and I don't see a sign of the government anywhere. Every single day for 8.5 hours, I exchange my time for labor. I don't see the government anywhere, except for on Thursdays. Thursdays I get my paycheck. That's when the government shows up. That's when they feel they are entitled to split half of the currency I made for trading my time, my skills, my labor. This goes on throughout the year, where I'm responsible to keep records of all of this. At the end of the year, it's my responsibility to prepare all that documentation for them to review it. They then determine if their cut was large enough. If I don't meet their schedule, I face fines, fees, or the threat of being locked up in one of their cells. I guess some people call this taxation, but it doesn't meet my definition. To me, that sounds a lot more like fraud, embezzlement, and fucking slavery. I think it's long past due that we all stop participating in this.
Now can I kill myself? Hey! Fuck you! I wanna die!
2, 1, launch.
Burn out.
Engine
150
shutdown.
meters per second. Slightly below nominal. We're over 1 kilometer. Trunk deploy. Drugs look good.
2.
Hey, you know better than that. What are you doing? It's all right. They kill you, you know. He just have to hit you one time.
Kodiak bears are one of the largest species in the world.
He's about 1,400 pounds, and if he stood up on his hind legs, he'd probably be about 9 feet tall.
Think of the strongest person you know or whatever, and you can magnify that by 1,000 times. Yeah, he's big. I mean, a small bear will kick your butt, and he's got so much strength. All he would have to do is lay on you.
He's like them. He's like a bear. He has no fear of them. It's really amazing. We've had Jimmy for 21 years now. Got him as a little cub, and he's been with us his whole life.
We are guaranteeing that this truck will not break down for 1,000,000 miles. We are guaranteeing it won't break down for 1,000,000 miles because it has 4 independent motors. You can lose 2 of those 4 motors and the truck will still keep going. In fact, even if you only have 2 of the 4 motors active, it'll still be a diesel truck. You know, there's a few other benefits as well. Brakes are a big deal for trucks. You got to stop 80,000 pounds. It's not easy. That's a lot of brake wear. But because with an electric motor, you can turn the brakes into generators. So every time you brake, that kinetic energy of braking goes straight back into the battery pack instead of wearing down a brake pad. So the brake pads basically last forever. You never need to replace brake pads ever.
You wonder why so many young people don't trust the system. It's because this is America 2.0. Brainwash kids for 8 hours a day until they're 18. Tell them they have to go to college and go 100K in debt or they'll never succeed. Make student loan debt unforgivable, more expensive yearly, and yet their parents' tax dollars go to those same schools. Make it illegal to have unpaid internships where you actually learn rather than just theorize. Pressure the top performers to go into 2 of the most uncreative jobs out there, Wall Street and consulting, or idealize startups that will require sleeping on floors, racking up massive debt from VCs so 1 out of 10 of them can end up on the cover of Fortune, then get mad at them for not working hard enough and quiet quitting when they can't afford houses, they hate their jobs, and their loans keep stacking. If that doesn't keep their heads down, then send them to war in a foreign land. We have to fix America 2.0. That's why kids don't want to keep playing this game.
The Book of Enoch that the Catholic Church removed from the Bible in 1611. That basically tells you about the spiritual structures that are on the planet. It gives you the history of the Anunnaki, the Nephilim, the fallen angels, all of it, including some of the extraterrestrial technology that humanity was using.
At this point, it shouldn't come as a surprise at what the Catholic Church has been doing behind our backs, and how so little we know it has done. Do you think what is being said is credible? Put your ideas below. TikTok, this is for entertainment purposes only.
Now, the Sumerians wrote all about this, and we're told it's fantasy. It's absolute history. The Chaldeans, a lot of which we don't have because it's all been hidden, all these things that we do today have been around for 35,000 years. It's just that what happens is when humanity gets to a place where we're ready to break free from the controllers, and what they do is they hit us with fear. They will create a scenario which puts us into a space of fear, and what that does is that it drops our frequencies back down.
2 people ignored this video, but you won't be the 3rd person to ignore it. I wanted to tell you that I love you very much. Can you share it with someone? If you do, I will send 2 angels to your home to bless it, removing all the negativity from your life and helping you with whatever you need. It's up to you whether you prefer to ignore the video and miss the blessing, or stay here. But even if you ignore me, I will still love you. I have a message from God to deliver to you. But before sharing God's message, I want you to pass it with at least 4 people from your list, thereby blessing someone. God instructs me to tell you that there will be a turnaround in your life, and He wants you to prepare. Because your life is about to change. You will be happier than ever before. Those who speak ill of you, those who envy you, will be surprised by the turnaround that will happen. In your turnaround of victory. A turnaround of prosperity, great prosperity. If you believe, type I believe. I take possession and follow me.
This is Vancouver, Canada, a city that made every drug legal. Drug addiction, overdoses, homelessness, and crime.
Drive. All drugs are good and balanced. God made all drugs.
A few side effects of decriminalizing every drug since January 2023. The city's goal was to make using drugs safer by making them legal, but many Canadians think it's done the exact opposite. So I went to downtown Vancouver with my friend Kevin, social worker and drug addiction specialist, to see the impact decriminalizing drugs has had on the city. People are smoking fentanyl, smoking crack out here.
Yeah, it's
just straight fentanyl, straight meth, straight crack everywhere.
It's definitely the most concentrated group of people of any city you and I have ever visited. Yeah, we've only done one block. We've been out here for 5 minutes. It's just complete chaos. There's offices right here. Can you imagine working here full time?
Considering the new laws here, I wanted to hear what kind of drugs the people here were using and how easy it was to get their hands on them. Are you on Trank right now? Is that why you're nodding out?
I don't know, I might be. More drugs better.
Okay. How easy would it be for us to get like fentanyl right now?
Yeah, but keep walking by.
Next person?
Yeah.
And how long have you been out here, sir?
I've been here about 4 years.
4 years? What was that?
All of the above. All drugs are good and balanced.
All the above. Okay.
God made all drugs.
How many people do you think are just on this street right here?
Roughly between 100 people.
100 people? Well, I appreciate you guys' time. I'm gonna move out of the way just a little bit. Hey, you think I inhaled meth just now?
That's what it smelled like.
I low-key think I inhaled some. Did I do meth just now?
Well,
I'm feeling a little lightheaded. I'm holding on to you for a reason. In hopes of escaping the fumes of meth I just inhaled, I walked into a nearby convenience store and noticed it was filled with pipes, bongs, torches, and every other tool a drug addict might need to fuel their drug addiction. Look at this all right here.
Oh, you're not allowed to take pictures.
Okay, real quick.
You're not allowed to take pictures, man.
All right, my bad. You have a convenience store selling torches and bongs right outside of all this. What are you using out here today, Michael?
It's cocaine.
How easy is it to get cocaine out here?
Pretty difficult because most of it is just crap. Now you got all this Trank, you got benzo, you got fentanyl, you got heroin. You don't know what's in your dope.
Are you concerned when you use cocaine that fentanyl might be in there?
A little bit, I guess, to be honest.
And mid-interview, the angry convenience store owner pulled up on us on his scooter.
You have any torty?
I don't even know what you're talking about, man.
Huh?
We're talking to him.
I've been all over the world. I feel like I've been everywhere except Russia. And I was planning on it, and I got stopped by the U.S. government from doing it.
Oh, you were going to go?
Of course.
And then what were you going to do?
Interview Putin. Why wouldn't
you
I?
You had it set up?
I was working on it, and they broke into my text messages. The NSA broke into my Signal account, which I didn't know they could do. I'm not hiding anything, but I was definitely hiding my plan to go interview Putin just because it's an interview. I got a call from somebody in Washington. This person said, meet me Sunday morning. So I go, and this person's like, are you planning a trip to go see Putin? This was the summer before the war started. And I was like, how would you know that? I haven't told anybody. I mean, anybody. Not my brother, not my wife, nobody. How would you know that? Because NSA pulled your text with this other person you were texting. And so I was intimidated. I'm embarrassed to admit, but I was completely freaked out by it. I called a U.S. senator. Congress asked NSA, and NSA is like, yes, we did this, but for good reason. What would be a good reason to read my, what? But the head of NSA, it's fine. Because everyone's in on it. Republicans and Democrats are all in on it. And by it, I mean the assumption there's no privacy whatsoever, that they have a right to know everything you're saying and thinking.
That shit's scary.
And that's just not a right as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
By the way, if you have no privacy, you have no freedom. Freedom is predicated on privacy. It's like none of your business.
If it seems like everything in your life is going wrong, take a moment to congratulate yourself. Feeling lost? Congratulations for that too. This might sound strange, but it's actually great news. Allow me to clarify. If you've been longing for happiness or a fresh start in life, It's important to understand that the challenges and disruptions you're facing are a necessary part of the journey to attain the life you've been wishing for. You might be asking, why does my life have to fall apart for me to attain the life I've been working toward? When you fully understand that the life you aspire to is much better than your current one, it's logical that things need to change. Your way of thinking, your environment, and the people in your life can't stay the same. You may notice shifts like losing your usual routines, drifting from some friends, and even encountering conflicts with family. But remember, these changes aren't necessarily negative. They're all part of a broader, positive transformation. Your energy is undergoing a transformation. The people you may have drifted apart from were a reflection of the energy you once had. Your inner energy is evolving, and as a result, your external circumstances are bound to change as well. Your previous energy was responsible for attracting certain things into your life, but now your new energy is drawing something different toward you. You see, when you consistently wish for a new life, the universe takes notice. It recognizes the intensity of your desire, but it won't simply hand you this new life on a silver platter. You may think you're prepared, but if you were truly ready, it would already be here. It's a process of alignment between your inner energy and the external reality. Transformation takes time, and it often involves some discomfort. The pain you experience during this process is a valuable teacher, providing you with lessons that will stay with you as you move forward into your future. The universe, or you can call it God, is actively working in your favor. It's clearing the path for this new life you desire, but there are specific lessons you must grasp. Unfortunately, the most profound understanding often comes through the crucible of pain. However, it's important to note that the process doesn't have to be consistently painful. By shifting your perspective on your life situation, you can make it more bearable and be less hard on yourself. When you recognize that everything is happening for a reason, you can find solace in the knowledge that the pain you're enduring is temporary and will eventually pass. It's crucial to understand that there's a purpose behind every.
In Brooklyn, New York, on Saturday, some 7,000 protesters took to the Brooklyn Bridge as Jewish people were warned, avoid the area. Again, I have to pause. This is New York. This is America. The answer from the NYPD or the authorities at Cornell or the authorities at Cooper Union, that other college incident we saw last week, is not avoid the area Jews. It's all hands on deck when it comes to the cops and security. And Jews are welcome here just like anywhere else in any square foot of America because this is America. I don't understand this. Jews stay home. That's not the way forward. That's not the way forward. According to Fox News, one demonstrator told the crowd, "We are going to liberate Palestine. We liberated parts of it already, so get ready to get barbecued." The protesters scaled a statue of George Washington, waving the Palestinian flag. This video, courtesy of friend of the show, Julio Rosas, he's been on before, who, like he always is, was on scene to document it all. The crowd chanted Allahu Akbar, and at least one protester was heard saying, "Long live Hamas." Look at this. Hamas cheerleaders in Brooklyn, New York. Allahu Akbar. Really? Okay. It was all too much for one Israeli man who confronted the protesters in a fiery exchange.
They murdered my family, these fucking assholes. They murder our people. They murder babies, they cut their heads off. This is what you're supposed. All the Muslim countries, nobody want to open the border to take this garbage, right? One Muslim country open the border to take this garbage. Nobody
Genocide. You support genocide.
Nobody want those people. Jewish proud Israeli and all these supporters, whatever they did in Israel, this is worse than the Holocaust. And they will do it here if they can. And they did it on September 11. Don't forget that.
Overseas, the images were just as dramatic. In London, around 100,000 protesters. Look at this in front of Big Ben. I mean, it's shoulder to shoulder. flooded the city for the third consecutive weekend. A sound system led people to chant, "Stop arming Israel, stop bombing Gaza, and we are all Palestinian." And look at this video. It shows a masked man walking and waving the jihadist flag used by Al-Qaeda and ISIS. Stay on message, sir, or wait. Are you? Are you? Journalist Andy No posted video showing protesters chanting Allahu Akbar near the statue of Winston Churchill. Watch.
What do you think the probability of another 9/11 attack?
I think exactly how it's done. It is hard to replace Khalid Sheikh Mohammed, KSM, who planned it. I'm not going to lie, he was a genius. Do they want to do something at that level? Yes. Do I think that they will do something more innovative than 9/11? Definitely. Remember, they tried it with obviously the liquids on the airplanes. I think the next attack will probably be something more innovative. I don't think it's going to be 3,000, but I don't think it's going to matter if it's 3,000 because they want to hit here and they want to show they can do it and they want to do something spectacular.
What do you think the probability of another...
Oh my God. Oh. Oh. And they burn it. They burn it right there.
TikTok user Aaron Explores had a terrifying encounter exploring an abandoned factory. After lowering himself into the basement, his lungs began to burn and his feet began to sink. He then turned on his flashlight and ran. I'll be honest, I thought of Chernobyl. Feeling concerned and unsatisfied after he left, he went back for more footage. This took me through a bit of a rabbit hole, but you can follow him for future updates.
Yeah, it goes about maybe a football field that way. And I've climbed all the way back in here. Hey, it does not appear to be toxic. It does not appear to be toxic at all. But it has been put down here to be forgotten. And there's something very sinister about what is down here. I'm going to have somebody help me. But in some cases, it's hard to trust people, okay?
Have you heard of the World's Fairs? The World's Fairs might be some of the most mysterious events in the entire history of man. These were gigantic, grand-scale events with grand-sized buildings. In the case of the St. Louis Fair, you had over 1,200 buildings. In fact, some of these were the largest recorded buildings in history at the time. Which begs the question, how did they create such an event in record times, in 1 to 2 years? How did they build the buildings, the canals, the roadways, the walkways, the columns, the arches, the pillars, everything? How did they build everything in a year or two and make it look absolutely spectacular? And history will tell us that this is all made of plaster and hemp. In the modern day, these events will cost several $100 million based on their original expenses. But for temporary buildings, why do they have lightning rods? Why are they so big? Many believe these were cities that were found and destroyed by the new population.
One afternoon, U.S. infrared satellites detect hot plume from Russian ballistic missiles. Satellites instantly transmit the detection data to early warning teams at NORAD, STRATCOM, and the National Military Command Center. America is under attack. By the time the president is notified, key officials from the Department of Defense have approximately 1 minute to brief the president. That group includes the Pentagon's Deputy Director of Operations, the point of contact between the Office of Military Commissions and other United States military and civilian agencies, and the head of U.S. Strategic Command, responsible for strategic nuclear defense of the United States. Anyone else in the group is at the president's discretion. Some of the advisors may try to change the president's mind, or resign in protest, but ultimately the Pentagon must do whatever the Commander-in-Chief orders. That meeting with advisors can be as short as 30 seconds. During the meeting, the head of U.S. Strategic Command located at the National Military Command Center in the Pentagon would inform the president that NORAD's early warning satellites detected a massive launch within the Russian Federation. 400 intercontinental ballistic missiles are currently heading toward the U.S. mainland and will be hitting their targets in 20 minutes. But if you want to put yourself in the president of the United States' shoes, NORAD's ballistic missile early warning system is currently tracking hundreds of missiles in mid-flight. Primary targets include the U.S.'s entire ICBM force, America's strategic bombers, and key military facilities. The Pentagon's Deputy Director of Operations would remind the president that if they didn't make a decision within 15 minutes, the United States would lose over half of its nuclear forces, severely limiting America's ability to launch a retaliatory strike. Given this information and advice, the President of the United States decides to launch a retaliatory strike, and the nuclear football is opened.
A lot of scary videos on the internet claim to feature evidence of extraterrestrial visitors to Earth. However, few are quite as convincing as this bizarre footage from Instagram account Live from Atlantis. The creator of the video, an amateur alien enthusiast from Russia, claims to have found something truly remarkable at an alleged UFO landing site. While he was investigating the site, he found a piece of glass that he claims is actually an infrared crystal that allows him to see things others can't. In the video, he performs a remarkable demonstration of the crystal's mystifying powers. Take a look. When holding the transparent, triangular crystal up to the sky, the man's able to see what appears to be saucer-shaped alien crafts flying through the air. By holding the crystal in front of the camera, he's able to capture the UFOs on video. He films at numerous different locations and, in each spot, is able to record footage of ships flying through the air. Sometimes there's only a single craft, and at other times they're flying in groups. Some of the crafts are high in the sky, but others are fairly close to the surface of the Earth. What bizarre power does this innocuous piece of glass have? So far, no one's been able to come up with an explanation that could potentially make sense of what we see in this video. More importantly, what do its revelations mean for humanity? Is Earth under siege from an alien fleet of ships? The implications of this terrifying footage are truly spine-chilling.
This is breaking news. China is now siding with Hamas and is calling for Israel to back down, saying Israel's actions have gone beyond self-defense. Now, this is very important to understand what's going on and also the biblical prophecies that are being fulfilled before our very eyes. China sees America as weak, and as a matter of fact, they're actually spying on U.S. Navy SEAL ships that are out there by Taiwan because China wants to invade Taiwan. And if China invades Taiwan, that is going to fully initiate and start World War III. We know that China is a part of these last days because the Bible prophesies of a 200 million man army that will invade Israel right here in Revelation 9 verse 16. And we know China will be a part of it because they have the largest army in the world of 2.8 million soldiers. But the Bible also tells us in Ezekiel 38 there will be two nations called Gog and Magog, which are modern-day Iran and Russia, and they are also going to team up against Israel with China to invade and try to destroy Israel. And one of the only ways they are going to be able to go into the land of Israel is through the Euphrates River once it dries up. The Bible says it's going to dry up, and we are literally seeing it dry up right before our eyes. The Bible is unfolding before our very eyes. It's not time to fear, but it's time to make sure that you are right with God.
The scariest one that I read about was a DARPA one called the Eater robot. It uses biological material as fuel, which means if
You're kidding. You're kidding.
No, I'm not
Jesus
kidding. EATR. This is going to be able to eat dead bodies in the field and use it as fuel to continue to kill people.
Oh, good. That sounds like a fine thing to develop.
Just fucking imagine an army of robotic, armed, artificially intelligent things,
corpse eaters,
that eat corpses in order to have fuel to continue to kill more
Well, someone's
people.
Obviously imagining that.
It's made. I mean, this is a real thing.
If they use nuclear bombs, they will be judged from everyone in the universe. Everything they say is a fear tactic to keep you under control. If they can make you fear something, they can make you do anything. They cannot use nuclear weapons because there are so many different realities right next to our reality. If I was to ask you, do you know what the Matrix is? What answer would you give me? Never forget, we are in a spiritual war. The archons are the architects of this Matrix. They found a way to trap our spirits inside of these shapes. Have you noticed you see these shapes and symbols everywhere you go? It's because our consciousness is now trapped inside of one of these shapes. Do you understand the rules to the game of the Matrix? It's all about sports. Their purpose is to keep our spirits inside of the box. You know about Olympics, you cannot go outside the white line. In baseball, you cannot go outside of the white line. Volleyball, you have to stay inside of the white line. Every sport that the Matrix created, they always keep boundaries or lines to keep you in bounds. Do you know what happens if you go out of bounds? No matter what you do, you have to keep your foot inside of the box. In all sports, the Matrix created another system called the score. In order to win, you have to score points. Do you know where the word score came from? The word score comes from sorcery. We are under a deep magic spell. I don't care what sport you want to play, they always name it a field. Do you know why they name it the field? This is a real field, a field of energy. We all have the energy vibrating outside of our body, but if you are stuck inside of a box, you are now an electric field. This energy field is coming from our heart. Do you know how powerful we really are? It's a reason why they always show us this image. More of the same images. If you know what you are looking at, this is just not an image, it's a reality. This man is not Jesus, and they don't even want you to think that it's Jesus. They are trying to show you an image within another image. They are trying to show you the heart. Pay attention to the heart and pay attention to the cross that's on top of the heart. The cross that's inside of Jesus' heart is really a sword in our heart. They're letting you know that our heart is no longer alive. Let's get back to these hidden symbols that control our consciousness or that trap our spirits. These are not just shapes, they are sacred symbols. Those shapes are really sacred geometry, our first language. If you can't speak universal language, other people will always control you because they know the rules to the game, and we don't. People were doing experiments when it came to bugs. They would put a bug on a piece of paper and they would draw a circle, and that bug would never leave out of that circle. It's the same thing with us. What if I told you this story of Jack in the Box is speaking about us because we are clowns that's stuck in a square? You know how they say a square is someone that don't know what's going on. You know what they said? Think outside the box or the square. Once you step outside of the box of the Matrix, you will realize time doesn't exist. Only clocks exist. It's a reason why our hearts are inside of our rib cage. Why would our hearts be inside of a rib cage unless it was in prison? Our heart represents the bird that's locked in a cage. Our heart's been in the cage for so long, when the cage opened up, we don't want to fly no more because we are used to the cage. If you want to know more about hidden knowledge, check out my ebook, Shadows of the Matrix. The link is in the bio.
The next time you think you have a food allergy, ask yourself this question. Can I ever eat that food and not have a reaction? You'll find that the answer is yes. That right there means it's not an allergy. Allergies are not transient. You're not allergic to milk on Monday morning, unallergic to it Wednesday afternoon, and re-allergic on Saturday. That's not how it happens, right? People come into me all the time, and they're like, Gary, I'm allergic to wheat, gluten, soy, corn, dairy, and blueberries. I go, okay, stop right there. You'd be dead, right? You're telling me you're allergic to all the essential amino acids. That can't happen. So this test is not going to help you. What will help you is looking at the 5 genetic mutations in the body and fixing the gene that runs the gut. Put the conveyor belt at the right speed, the gut can perform the job that it's designed to do, right? If there are 8 people standing on this stage and I have to pass something from this person to this person to this person to this person, I cannot go like this. Does that make sense? That sequence is important. So one of the things that we want to do is restore that sequence for you. Yes, another question. Yes, ma'am. Over here in the white. Hashimoto's? Okay. Hashimoto's thyroiditis. I'm going to teach you more in the next 60 seconds about the thyroid than most board-certified endocrinologists know. I call it Hashimoto's nonsense. Right? Hashimoto's nonsense. This is a fancy way of just pushing thyroid medication. You want to talk about a pandemic in this country? We have a pandemic of medicating organs in the body that have done nothing wrong.
We found some crazy shit down there. I've found very intricate, mind-blowing satanic rituals and sacrifices out there. Yeah, the police came and investigated it. It made the news, and that's the facility I was hunting. It's Aerojet. It's actually an abandoned space rocket facility from the Cold War. So we go out there. The first thing I came across was a big rock pile with a upside-down wooden cross on top and a bunch of red spray-painted upside-down crosses all over. And you could tell the cross, I think, was burnt a little bit. And then I found this little doll. As I kind of investigated that doll more, a little red scarlet snake actually came up and wrapped around her neck. And I picked up the scarlet snake, and I've caught a lot of snakes in my life. And that is the only one that was bleeding out of its anus. There was blood coming out of its beehole, which, you know, I don't know why, who knows what. It was a little weird to me. And then the night just kind of gets weirder from there.
I worry that we're sliding towards a state of total monitoring on the premise that we're all better off for it. And it's like the frog in the heated water. We don't feel it day by day, but it's happening. We all agree that we can be hand patted down just to get on an airplane. We've all accepted that. Because of a handful of people, historically handful. We all say, yes, take my luggage, x-ray my luggage, take away my liquids, pat me down, and I'm okay with that. That's a transition. And I'm okay with security cameras in the street. It was okay in banks, we understood that. But now, when I exit the bank and I'm in the street, walking in the park, so I don't know the future of that. I worry that
nuclear bomb 24 times more powerful than those dropped on Japan to end World War II. This would be major to have in our arsenal. This is the Senate Armed Services Committee raises concerns about growing nuclear threats from Russia, North Korea.
The U.S. Air Force and Space Force tested an unarmed nuclear-capable long-range missile today. Traveled 4,200 miles to the Marshall Islands. The U.S. regularly tests its weapons for accuracy and reliability. The Pentagon says Russia was notified.
Congress approved the production of a brand new nuclear weapon far more powerful than the atom bombs used in World War II. The military leaders saying they want to keep Americans protected from rising threats around the world.
A new push by the Department of Defense to upgrade its nuclear weapons. Military leaders recently announcing they will pursue production of the B-6113 nuclear gravity bomb, a weapon 24 times more powerful than the bomb dropped on Hiroshima, Japan during World War II. One defense leader writing in a statement that the need for the new nuclear weapon, quote, is reflective of a changing security environment and growing threats from potential adversaries.
This is as serious a topic as we will hear about this year.
Nuclear Security Administration announced a team conducted an underground chemical explosion at a test site in Nevada, aimed at improving America's ability to detect nuclear explosions around the world. Now, with a call to upgrade the U.S.'s own weapons, some lawmakers want to see the country be prepared.
It is time to begin making the national defense investments required to deter the conflicts looming ahead.
The most evil men on the planet once said, "We love death. They love life. That is the difference between us two." There are only two things every man should fear. One is God, and the other is a man who has no fear of God. Hell is empty. All the devils are with us. When you choose the lesser of two evils, always remember that it is still an evil. The victor of a battle will never be asked if he told the truth. Death is the solution to all problems. No man, no problem. Do not trust anyone, not even yourself. Ideas are more powerful than guns. We would not let our enemies have guns. Why should we let them have ideas? A crook is a crook, and there's something healthy about his frankness in the matter. But any guy who pretends he is enforcing the law and steals on his authority is a swell snake. Politics is when you say you are going to do one thing while intending to do another. Then you do neither what you said nor what you intended.
You can't say the word truth without the word hurt.
Because the truth hurts.
Exactly. You know what else you can't say? The word alien without the word lie. If you look at social media, the word social has the word CIA in it. The CIA has been running social media for a long time. Would you agree that America is Israel's best friend?
Yes.
Here's why I bring that up. You can't spell Jerusalem without the word USA.
Yo.
You want to hear one more?
Yeah, let's hear one more.
The word dishwasher has her in it.
Yo, that's crazy. That's crazy.
It's about time that this country had somebody running it that has an idea about money. When we have $20 trillion in debt and our country's a mess, you know, it's one thing to have $20 trillion in debt and our roads are good and our bridges are good and everything's in great shape. Our airports are like from a third world country. You land at LaGuardia, you land at Kennedy, you land at LAX, you land at Newark. And you come in from Dubai and Qatar, and you see these incredible, you come in from China, you see these incredible airports, and you land, we've become a third world country. So, the worst of all things has happened. We owe $20 trillion, and we're a mess. We haven't even started. And we've spent $6 trillion in the Middle East, according to a report that I just saw. Whether it's 6 or 5, but it looks like it's 6. $6 trillion. In the Middle East, we could have rebuilt our country twice.
Satan really was clever.
Oh, if he's real,
he
is the prince and power of the air. He
Right.
is the great deceiver. He's very clever.
Right, but if Satan is a real thing, what a genius thing to make it ridiculous to believe in him. Even saying you've communicated with Satan or saying
You sound like a loon.
You sound like a loon. Like
Because if you
we were just
negate
talking about this the
him-
other night. I said that if the president said God is with our troops, we would say awesome. But if the president said we've located the devil, he's in Afghanistan, and we're beginning bombing,
He'd be
you'd be like,
Satan was the #1 angel. He was number 2 in charge. He was the big cheese and said, I want to have everything. And God was like, not going to happen.
yeah.
بنسمعكم يابا سمعكم يابا سلمى 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 يابا سعيد 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 يابا يابا مش قلت لك دماغك عختك مش قلت لك دماغك على فوقتك مش قلت لك دماغك عختك مش قلت لك دماغك عختك يابا في الجنة يا حبيبي في الجنة في الجنة في الجنة في الجنة يا حبيبي في الجنة سبقوك لا إله.
The red are the executives that are Jewish at these companies. This right here is a chart of Universal Studios, 20th Century Fox, ABC News, CBS, CBS News, Columbia Pictures, Warner Brothers, ESPN Sports, Fox News, Washington Post, Metro Goldwyn Mayer, MTV Music Television, Nickelodeon, USA Today, Wall Street Journal, Comedy Central, NBC Entertainment, Google, what else do we have? Disney, ABC Kids and Family, YouTube, Los Angeles Times, Discovery Network, Paramount Pictures, Facebook, Huffington Post, Yahoo, Marvel, Hulu, Cosmopolitan, Time, Touchstone, Associated Press, Pixar.
They teach you about the magnetic fields of magnets. They don't teach you that you have the same field. Then they provide you with rubber sole shoes which disconnect you from the magnetic earth. The human body is only alive because the magnetic field of it is alive. You are an electrical battery which needs charging. Placing your feet in nature has a massive benefit on the body and the human energy field. When we damage our magnetic fields, we damage our physical bodies. This is why they make us wear rubber shoes to disconnect us from the earth. This is why they say don't look into the sun, because it blinds you, when in fact it charges the body and activates the pineal gland, the spiritual gland of the body. They've made you scared of the only thing that keeps you alive, the sun. This is why the word sacred, rearranged, is scared, because they're inverting everything. They programmed you to be scared of the dark as well, because in darkness you find the light, because within yourself is the true light, the true spiritual self, which is far more powerful than the physical world and the physical body that you inhabit. If you want to unfold the true God-Man within you and reach the highest state of consciousness, the Unfolding God-Man course is in the bio.
Hey there, Buckaroo. So I was just downstairs working, and I heard that everybody in the office got raises, man, and I'm just wondering, there a little extra coin in there for us?
Unfortunately, no. I didn't hear anything about raises for you guys, so I'm sorry.
Man, why didn't they think about us down there, the workers?
Well, it's just we had to give raises to the important people, okay? We had to give raises to the ones who mattered. We didn't have enough in the budget to pay everybody, so sorry.
It's not like you guys have been bragging about record-breaking profits all year. Kind of weird that there's not even a smidgen of dollar bills in there for us. Not even a morsel of some change. 25 cents at this point, something. It's crazy there's nothing like that in there for us.
Unfortunately, it's not going to work. Not in the budget.
So yeah, I guess, I'm going to go back downstairs, tell everybody. Everybody's going to get mad for a mutiny, so I would probably give us a raise before the end of the day, before we have to, lock you in your office and light it on fire.
Is the technology advancing too fast? How do you see the world in 10 years' time? Is the technology advancing too fast?